Hi everyone, and welcome. My name is Namhla. If you're new here, hi. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, homie. I really appreciate your support. Look, if you've clicked on this video, either means you are interested in doing an MBA, you have done an MBA, and you want to just hear my thoughts on my journey and see where you can relate, or you're considering doing one, or just you just don't know what it's about. Either way, this is the video for you. Please stay tuned because I will be sharing or reflecting on my MBA journey, the highs, the lows, the in between. Any master's degree is challenging, let me tell you. But nothing could have ever prepared me for how challenging an MBA was. It definitely was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. And I've done a lot of hard things, okay? But the MBA was by far the most challenging, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise. It challenged me in the worst and the best possible ways. How so? First of all, I honestly was doing an MBA because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with my career. I felt as though professionally it had kind of plateaued and I wanted to specialize in a leadership field, but I wasn't sure what that would be. And well, after having an honors degree, the next best thing was a master's degree. And then it came to choosing a school to do the MBA in. I chose Gibbs because, well, it's one of the top rated in business schools actually in Africa. And also because I'm a University of Pretoria alumni, so home, I suppose. Lastly, it was because there's a lot of other people that I knew who had gone through the MBA and done it via Gibbs that had spoken very highly of it. So I was like, okay. And things were kind of aligning, even when it came to when I had to apply. The timing was perfect. The application process was seamless. I thought, okay, great. Mm-mm. So looking back now, I think if I were to give myself advice, I'm like, do more research. Girl, do more research. Understand your whys. Why do you want to do an MBA? Really, 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 really. And perhaps though, because I mean, we go through things for a reason. Going through it was so that I can get to this point and reflect on it. What did it help me with? What did it not help me with? Let's first start with the positives, shall we? In the greater scheme of things, an MBA really does challenge your mental capacity and your tolerance of all things difficult. It forces you to delve into subjects and topics that you've never interacted with ever before in your life. It forces you to have a voice. If you are somebody that's always been in a cocoon and shelved, it improves your ability to work with other people, difficult or otherwise. It forces you to really push yourself to finish what you started, to commit to certain things because the amount of money, oh my gosh, is so expensive, depending on the institution, of course. Also, my ability to deal with problems has really improved, and my approach to problem solving has really, really improved. The way I think and look at things has become very, very different. Also, the friendships, the relationships that you make in an MBA are for a lifetime because you're in a class filled with individuals that are very well versed within their individual fields and great minds, essentially. And you can form the best friendships because these are people that won't be competing with you. These are people that, if you align yourself well, you can really have relationships that are meaningful, that grow you as an individual beyond just the MBA. You can start businesses. I know people who have started businesses. You develop traits from a character perspective that you wouldn't have ordinarily have had. You interact with individuals that have gone through different experiences. If you're going through a certain challenge, be it at work, be it on a personal front, they are able to come in and provide wisdom, and that's coming from a really good place. And I think because you are all in this life, okay, it feels like it's lifelong, and this lifelong marathon. Let me tell you, comrades is nothing on that thing. And you are lectured by lecturers that are well versed in their industries. These are experts, man. They've done it, they know examples, lived experiences that you can really relate to. Overall, I think it grows your emotional capacity to such a level where you are able to tolerate anything. Is it fair when being put in syndicates and some people pull the weight and others don't? No, but it forces you also to take accountability for your actions, because at the end of the day, if you walk that stage and you've graduated with an MBA, do you really want to feel like you were that guy that didn't do anything or girl that didn't contribute, and yet you still walked away with an MBA? So what did you really gain? I don't know, it's a value system thing for me. But that's definitely one of the things that I gained. Yeah, it just forces you to think outside of the box. You get to see that there's a bigger world beyond just your little spectrum. Some people find love, which is great. Yeah, some people do find love in the MBA. Some people have, by virtue of them being exposed to an MBA, being infiltrated into the academic sphere, which has been beautiful to see them coming back to the institution, lecturing, and you're just part of an alumni that is just legendary. It's amazing. It really, really, really is in that sense. So those are some of the really great things, and I think those are things that most people know about it. Obviously, I think the stature of an MBA has changed over time. What an MBA was in 2010, for example, 2005, is no longer the same as it is now. It's diluted because so many people have it. But again, it doesn't take away from the learnings that you take out of it, and what you do with it is actually the most important thing. There's often quite a few misconceptions when it comes to the MBA. The MBA does not necessarily open doors or create immediate streams of income or accelerate your growth. Not for everyone. Yes, depending on the institution and the kind of opportunities that it exposes you to, you will, even professionally, I can honestly say that out of my MBA class, 80% of us changed jobs, grew professionally, which is great. But manage your expectations when wanting to do an MBA. Don't go in there thinking, yeah, I'm going to move from middle management to being a CEO. It doesn't work like that. It opens the opportunities, but you need to put in the work. Since I said from the get-go, know your why. Why are you doing it? Why? In knowing your why, you're able to foster where it is you want to go, unlike going with the wind. Let me tell you, if you're confused about what it is you want to do from a career perspective, it's not going to unconfuse you. In fact, it's just going to confuse you even more, because you're going to start to question your surroundings. You're going to start to question how certain people think in your organization, etc. Another big low for me when it comes to the MBA, and this is even proven research statistically, okay, that an MBA will ruin your relationship. It not ruin, okay, ruin is so strong, but it will challenge it. There's been studies that have shown that divorces have come out of an MBA, and that is understandable. I mean, I've lost some friendships because of the MBA. You are technically not available for anything you were available for at the beginning. You have no social life. If your friends decide to get married within that time, the chances of you making it to that wedding, if there's baby showers in between and you're writing exams or you're in the middle of a hectic research, especially if it is the kind of MBA where you need to be in class, it's not online, then yeah, it demands quite a bit out of you. Another thing that I wouldn't do, now looking back, would be to do an MBA part-time. Yeah, I wouldn't do that, because balancing the two is difficult, and one of the two will take a 4. And it's usually the job side of things, which is why even your lecturers will tell you when going into an MBA, it's important that you are in a role where you can delegate your duties, because you're not going to be able to perform to your fullest level of capability. And that's a given, understandably. Which is why I would recommend, if you do an MBA, do it with an organization that understands the benefit of you doing that MBA, so that when you are done with it, they can be able to know how to use you. The last thing you want to do, irrespective of whether you're growing or not professionally, is be with an organization that knows you have an MBA but doesn't know how to use it. Or worse, reporting to somebody who doesn't understand the value of an MBA, because then you won't be used. All that knowledge will just be sitting around and you'll just be bored, okay? You'll just be bored. So that's one piece of advice that I think I could give anyone wanting to do an MBA. Also be in a position where you're able to manage expectations in terms of what can be expected from you and what can't be if you're doing it part-time. Manage your family. If you're married, let them know that for the next 2 years, the husband and the children have to take or pull on the rails and take on your responsibilities, because you're just not going to be present. I would even go as far as saying, consider yourself at home affairs non-existent for those 2 or 3 years that you're doing that thing. That's if you're committed to doing it on time. One of the other things is protect your mental health when doing an MBA, especially when doing it whilst working. Protect it, because I have seen this thing damage people mentally. It's a lot of work, guys. It really is. I was constantly exhausted whilst doing my MBA, especially in the second year of it, where you're now starting to go into areas of specialization. There's the research this side, there's the global module this side, there's electives this side. It's a lot. So if you're doing it part-time and you have an opportunity to do it full-time, rather do it full-time and get it over and done with. And this is something that I always found odd with people that had an MBA, but I now get it. Once you've gone through that crucible, no one can take that away from you. No one. Yeah, which is why, I mean, there's such a stereotype around people with an MBA. We will flaunt that thing, okay? We will flaunt it. We will put it next to our names on LinkedIn. We will put it in sentences because it was that hard, okay? But if you're just going to flaunt it for the sake of flaunting it and not flaunting it for your personal growth, then don't do it. Honestly, some people just do it for fun, which is fine. I'd rather you saying you're doing it for fun, but don't say you're doing it so that you can grow your professional career. That's not a good enough reason to do an MBA, I think. That it's just too painful. And the chances of you finishing it are slightly lower than somebody else who knows exactly why they're doing it. We obviously have different life paths. God's timing is not the same. Manage your expectations as well, because somebody else might get opportunities just like that straight after doing an MBA. They will escalate. So it's very important to understand that the journey is yours and God's. The timing is God's more than anything. Just believe in the fact that one thing that kept me going, and it's keeping me going, is I was meant to do that thing for a reason. I honestly just believe I was meant to do it. Just everything about my MBA journey was just so seamless. Did I enjoy it? No, it was horrible. It was the best and worst time of my life. But honestly, I would do it again. I wouldn't change a thing. I really wouldn't. There's something about it. I mean, yeah, I lost relationships, friendships, everything, but I gained self. I gained a sense of self. And ironically, I was doing it at a time when there's so much that was happening in my life, and I could have easily just decided to quit. Honestly, I could have. But I was just so committed to seeing it through that I finished. I really did finish. And by virtue of me being able to finish that, it kind of taught me or strengthened my self-confidence. And it was something that I really needed at the time because of what I had gone through. That if I could do that, I can do anything. Honestly and truly, I started to believe it. Obviously, life will have its own challenges and God will have his time. But I have no doubt that I am slowly but surely using the skill set, be it through starting this channel. This is a business venture on its own. And I would have never had the guts to be able to do this or think twice about it had I not gone through something like that. But it is possible to do, and I wouldn't take it for granted for anything. And nobody can take that away from me. I got a distinction for my research through blood, sweat, and tears. And once you have it, it's only a matter of time. Your time will come. But just know your reasons and stick true to yourself, knowing that God's got you. If you are meant to do it, you're going to do it. If you're not meant to do it and you're forcing it, you'll also find that out pretty soon. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope I give you some insights on it or inspire you guys in some way or form to either do it or not do it. And if you are currently doing it, to keep pushing. There's a reason why you did it, and just finish what you started. If you don't have to do it, don't do it. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Please remember to leave your comments and engage down below. I appreciate your support so much. Thank you for the growth in the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.